The history of gaming, dating back to games with only a few pixels such as Pong, has evolved at an incredible rate, bringing upon games with such amazing graphical quality to almost being mistaken for real-life footage. Video gaming has come a long way over the years, bringing with it a plethora of video games. The amount of genres has grown in order to classify the enormous quantity of video games around the world. Some of the more popular genres include first-person shooters, role-playing games, voxel, and multiplayer online battle arenas. A growing but not so popular genre that I would like to tell you about is what is called a roguelike. Why is it called roguelike, you ask? Back around in 1980, a game called Rogue was created. This inspired a whole entire genre of gaming called roguelike. Everything within this genre is like the game Rogue. But what makes a roguelike game? Well, roguelike games have a lot of unique characteristics that make them different and stand out from all the other video gaming genres. One of the biggest aspects of a roguelike is that there is no respawning. The death system in a roguelike is called permadeath. Permadeath is a situation in which player characters die permanently and are removed from the game, meaning when you die you have to start from the very beginning. Because of permadeath, you will find a lot of high-stress situations while you are playing these games. This may seem harsh that you have to start all the way over after death, but some attributes are retained even through death depending on the game. You can retain gear, skills, money, or loot. Roguelike games use a random numbers generator to lay out different maps every time. The random numbers generator also applies to enemies, weapons, power-ups, and loot. These chances of playing an exactly identical scenario is almost impossible, which means these games have a seemingly endless amount of gameplay. Most roguelikes have a currency system, and instead of relying on finding random power-ups and weapons throughout the game, you can just buy them by collecting money and finding stores within the game. Some power-ups may include more health, faster speeds, and higher damage. There are a huge variety of power-ups and abilities within these games, pretty much anything that makes you more powerful. There are a lot of unique enemies in these games, keeping the combat fresh, exciting, and unexpected. Fighting through rooms of normal enemies, you might stumble across a room with a mini-boss. When a mini-boss is killed, you can receive better loot. Bosses are different from mini-bosses. When you kill a boss, you do get rewards, but it also means that it's the end of the floor and you get to proceed to the next floor. You might be thinking, when does it end? How do you win? As you continue through all the floors, you will eventually reach the final level. The final level is much more difficult than the earlier levels, especially since in order to beat the final level, you have to kill the final boss. I'm not going to spoil anything for you yet, but let's just say the final boss isn't easy. Don't let these cute graphics fool you. These games can be very unforgiving. I hope I've convinced some of you to try this genre. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you, if you want to start playing roguelike games, is prepare to die a lot.